Rise of Skywalker is one of the best films, including A New Hope. Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to... As a Star Wars enthusiast myself, no one's better to judge these Star Wars takes other than me. By the way, I just looked up the Google definition of bad Star Wars take. Fun and action, more like dull and boring. Shut your fucking mouth! I got fell asleep during this movie, but I didn't. On defense of the story, argue Palpatine should have returned. This one I found is quite a long one, so we're gonna read this one together. The Jedi finally got back at Palpatine. This includes cameos from here, seeing Palpatine return after 30 years, plus in return as Palpatine. How many times do we want to say Palpatine? Chewie got his last medal, Hux is a spy. We see a yellow lightsaber for the first time in the movies. The more we know. So I was at work and I decided to have another little search, but this time I put the word horrible in, and that was the AI generated thing that came up. As we can tell, the AI is putting these people on blast. However, I'm not going to stop there, we're actually going to hunt for them. So one of the first ones I found was someone calling Rogue One bad. Probably one of the best movies we've had in the last couple of years. Clearly this guy didn't like Andor, which is no exception because that's a good series as well. How are you supposed to make Star Wars dark and edgy? I don't understand. At this point, I thought I was going to end up struggling to find Star Wars hot takes, but that was probably the easiest one I could find. A little bit more of a research, and I finally came to a website that was showing me some hot takes. The Last Jedi will be high regarded in 15 to 20 years. I don't think so. I mean, look at Phantom Menace in the Clone Wars. Phantom Menace still gets put in the gutter all the time, and the only reason why the Clone Wars has got where it's got now is because of a TV show that was much better than the movies, if I do say so myself. But I don't think any movie from the sequel era, the one that might come close is The Force Awakens, a legit rip-off of A New Hope, and you can't tell me it's not. Wow, Star Wars awful takes, and I'm giving up my takes. See, these Star Wars fans, yeah, I really want to look like the concept art of Darth Vader, just imagine with a katana. By the way, this is off Bleach. We're getting to a point in time where I've kind of covered the parts I wanted to cover, but I don't want to overshare too much of my personal detail on Star Wars, so I'm going to go back and look for some more, because what would be the point of making a 3-minute video? So, a little bit more research went into the funding, and I found something that might be worth it. So, I went on BuzzFeed. The only thing I had left was BuzzFeed. They've ranked The Rise of Skywalker 6. I'm actually like an anime character. I'm actually like an anime character right now. I'm going off it because I'm seeing all these, like... I feel like I'm actually, like, partially autistic. I might generally be partially autistic. See that right there? That's a face of sadness in this video. I'm also here to tell you, I'm going to be streaming on Twitch soon. Yeah, little introduction there in the middle of the video. So before I unpause this video, follow, please. I'll hand you back to my angry self. How are we ranking them two on the lowest one? Han Solo's Star Wars movie got higher, like a higher rank as the worst movie. How is that even possible? How? Like, that's a live reaction, by the way. That isn't me just like, recording the reaction. I've reacted to that. I don't understand how that's even remotely possible. I think I just might be salty because on BuzzFeed it says that it's Revenge of the Sith is like 9th and Rogue One is like 8th or something like that, which I don't get why they're not at least close to the top 5, I'd assume. But that's even worse than what I thought it was. Like, how are people thinking, how do people think that any of the sequels that have come out are any good? So it appears I got a little bit carried away with ranting about this list of Star Wars, because I think Star Wars is a huge passion for me. But on the contrary, I saw many bad Star Wars takes. There were a lot. There were a lot of people on Reddit claiming that a lot of the movies were either bad, even that big one about who shot first, was it Greedo or Han Solo? Some, even if you are a Star Wars fan, shouldn't even be considering, as I've got them on screen right now. Ran out of the way. I guess to me, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, as I've proclaimed at the start, and seeing all these stuff about how people think Rise of Skywalker is probably better than most of the stuff generally can be infuriating sometimes, and I don't understand how. Like, I don't know what goes through the thought process of thinking, wow, that's mint. I think that's proper good. That, like, come on, man. I think I'm just too much of a bloody. I think I'm just too much of a nerd to think bad writing is good. Like, rah! Please do not clip that out of context, I beg. However, my lovelies. However, people, I think I'm gonna end that there before I have another conniption fit over Star Wars. I guess if you're still watching up to this point, I really want to know how you find the editing. If you're generally watching up to here, please let me know how the editing is for this video, because I'm trying out new stuff, and obviously you don't get anywhere unless you try new stuff. So yeah. However, that's all I wanted to talk about.